Imagine showing this SQL output in your company's meeting instead of clean column names. Your output says salary into 12, name, department underscore ID. Confusing, right? Now imagine displaying these as the column names: annual salary, employee name, department. Much more cleaner and much more efficient and professional. That's exactly what we will be learning today in our SQL session on Aliases. Hello everyone, welcome back to Sagar Data Labs. In today's session, we will learn the as keyword, also known as alias in SQL. By the end of this video, you will understand what an alias is, why aliases are important, column aliases, aliases with the calculations, aliases with the spaces, and some typical beginner mistakes. And most importantly, how professional SQL outputs are created in the real world projects. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. Let's begin the session by understanding what is an alias. An alias is simply a temporary name which is given to a column or the expression in the SQL output. It only changes the name of the columns which is displayed in the output. Remember, it does not change the actual column name in the table. Think of it like giving a nickname to an expression or the column when displaying it in the result grid. Now, the obvious next question is, why do we need aliases? Sometimes the column names become too difficult to understand, too long or too complicated, right? So aliases helps us to name the column in such a way that it is more cleaner, more readable and more professional. Especially in reports, dashboards, business analysis, Power BI and Tableau. The basic syntax of using the as keyword in SQL for giving the aliases to the column names or the expression is very simple. Now let's go ahead and understand how it works. So I will select the database first. I will write use company DB. I'll end it with semicolon and I will run this. The database has been selected. Now let me show you the emp name column from the employees table. Select emp name from employees. Let me go ahead and run this. Now you will be able to see that the column name showing up here is emp name, but it is not very professional or it is not very clean for someone who is looking at this output directly and does not know the background, right? A better way of displaying this column would be providing the column name as employee name. That's exactly what we will be doing using the as keyword. So let me just go ahead and show you how it can be used. So I will just copy this query and I will write it here, and after the column name I will use the as keyword and then I will write employee name from employees. Okay, now let me run this and see what is the output. Now when you look at the result, the column name has been changed to the employee name, which is much more readable, cleaner and professional. Now one very important point here to remember is as keyword only renames the column name in the result grid, but in the background the column name still says emp name and it has not been renamed to the employee name. Now here is an interesting question. Do you think as keyword is mandatory whenever we are giving the alias name to our columns or expression? Think about it. In the meantime, let me just copy this. So the answer is no. Even if I remove this as keyword from here, then the output of both the SQL queries will be the same. So I will go ahead and run this. You can see here that it also gave me employee name as the column name. But when it comes to code readability, the above query is much more cleaner and much more professional. Now suppose we want output something like this, where the alias name is separated by space. Whenever you want to give an alias to a column name which is having space as a separator, you will always mention the alias in the inverted commas. So let me go ahead and show you how it is done. So I will write select emp name as employee name from employees. Now let me go ahead and run this, and you will be able to see that it will be showing me something like this, where employee and name is separated by the space. So whenever you want to give a space in the alias, always make sure that the alias name is under the double quotes or single quotes. Now let's take a scenario where I wanted to calculate the annual salary of each employee of the company. Now in this case, what I will do is I will go ahead and multiply the monthly salary of each employee with 12 so that I can get the annual salary. Let me go ahead and do that. So I will write select salary into 12 from employees, and I will run this query. Now you will be able to see here that the column name shows as salary to 12, which is confusing and unprofessional. So I want it to display this column name as annual salary. So what I will do is I will just write as keyword here, and since I want it to be separated by space, I will write annual salary, and I will run it again. Now it is much more readable and much more professional. Aliases are commonly used in dashboards, reports, Power BI, Tableau, financial analysis, and KPI reporting because businesses prefer understandable outputs instead of technical field names. And the aliases does a pretty good job in doing that. Now you know how professional SQL outputs are actually created using aliases. This may look like a small concept, but in real projects, clean and readable output matter a lot. And this is exactly how analysts make reports and dashboards easier to understand. In the next session, we will move on to SQL aggregate functions and start with count. So if you are serious about mastering SQL step by step, make sure to subscribe to Sagar Data Labs and continue the journey. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.